Yes, I think that's a great question. I want to remind everybody that we're learning as we go. So there's a lot of data that is still to come out from the western part of the world that we need to understand how it truly affects our population, and we don't have answers to all that. So although from the Chinese data and so far some European data, we have seen that people who are elderly or even younger people who have diabetes, hypertension, comorbidities, immunocompromising conditions are the most at risk, that we still don't completely understand to the extent that you're infected. And even when you're young and you're infected, how long does the misery last? We don't know the full answers to that, so we're still finding out. So definitely, I think all of us should be on the same understanding that we're all learning and take due precautions until we know more. If your body is exposed to the virus, your body sees it and goes, okay, what do I do next, right? So it can continue to shed the virus. You might not have symptoms. Now, for those people who shed the virus, they might be like, okay, if you're young and completely healthy, have symptoms perhaps most similar to a cold, but the people around you who are immune suppressed for some reason, that might be the end of the line, right? So that's a huge difference. That's truly a responsibility on you to realize that if you're mixing with other people, you don't know the whole story of what that other person is going through. So if you transmit something to them that could kill them, that's just not humane. The biggest thing that slows the transmission down is not having the congregation of people. So being cognizant of that, so not being out in party places or even beaches for that matter, that if you're congregating in one place, then you're going to increase the chance of people exposing. So that's one thing. And then day-to-day things that you can do is wash your hands. When you're coughing, cough into your sleeve. If you cough into the tissue, throw the tissue away, or wash your hands before touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. So there's some things that are just common sense practices, which is, but they're hard to practice. So I would reinforce that, hand hygiene, making sure you don't touch your face, nose, or mouth without washing your hands, just hygiene practices in general. The common pitfalls are that people, when you wash your hands, you forget to clean between your thumbs, the tips of your fingers, and in between. So those are the common. We don't instantly think of it or remember, but that, in between the thumbs, fingers, and the tips. So you want to, you get all of them and you do it for 20 seconds. So that's a question that gets asked a lot. I think that kind of came out of that one case that the dog tested positive. But I think we have to remember, so far we have no known. That's not the main mode of transmission. The main mode of transmission is that people that congregate, touch hands, and cough and sneezing. There is still data coming out on the question you asked. People are looking at shedding and stuff and see if that is truly infectious or not infectious. I think we'll learn a lot more. General rule of thumb, if you're sick, try to keep that distance so you're not transmitting disease between each other and the pet. But we'll know more about it. So the question is, if I'm young, should I just go get myself exposed so I can develop immunity? I want to point out that at this point in time, even the entire scientific community does not know what it would mean for you as a young individual to get the coronavirus, right? How many days we've known the virus? Since December, so it's less than 3 months still, 3-4 months. So we don't know truly what the long-term implications are, right? So at this point in time, I would not recommend taking that risk, right? That in that short frame of time, we know what we know, and what we don't know is what we don't know. So I think we have to be cognizant of that when we're thinking about taking those risks. So I would definitely caution the younger generation against thinking that if I get my immunity now, I'll be fine. We don't know what those antibodies do. We don't know what the virus will do to all your organ systems a few years, few months down the line. We have no idea. It is brand new. Maybe down the line we'll have an answer for that question, but right now I would not recommend taking that risk. There are different predictions and models. It's kind of too early to say. I think it would be really hopeful in saying that Florida is warm. does that maybe help us? It's too early to say. I think we have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best truly at this time. Looking farther down, in Florida we have elderly population and vulnerable population, and we prioritize on protecting and planning around that part. And if it slows down, great. If we are wrong, I think that I look at it two ways. If we are wrong that this is not going to be as bad, then what's the worst thing that happened? We washed our hands, we stayed away from each other for a few days.
All good things anyway.
Right. So, I mean, the hand washing, definitely,
yes.
Great thing. But if we are, if you don't expect it and then it goes, it'd be horrible.
Of course.
We don't want that. In general, if you're feeling sick, stay home, hydrate yourself, get the rest. If you're not getting better, if you need to seek medical advice, call ahead of time so your doctor knows how best to give you the care that you need. So that's the best thing to do right now. We know what we know. We only find what we look for, and the unknown is unknown. We have a war to fight, and we need our younger people with us in this. We can't do it without them. So we want us to be together in the front we provide against this pandemic right now. It's us as humanity against the virus. It's not the young people separate and the older people separate. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
We as a species, it's a virus versus us, period.
Yes.
So we got to figure out which part of the team we are playing for.